I'm Steve Turano with Ask a Real Expert. This video is a continuation of video 119. I'm going to talk about maximizing strength and size. Most guys limit their ability to gain maximum size and maximum strength because they're so worried about their form. And you know, this is understandable. When you hear this all the time, day and night, year after year, form is the most important thing, you begin to get worried about it. And then you limit the amount of weight you can lift because of some form or change in your form. Yeah, your toe went out this way or somehow you moved a little bit and oh my God, the exercise is now worthless because somehow your form is exactly the same as demonstrated in a magazine or on a website. Even when Justin did his video 105, people thought he was doing curls. It was like he was doing front dumbbell raises with 80 pounds while he was seated. So people are going, he's doing his curls wrong. So people didn't even understand that he was doing a front dumbbell raise. And because he was moving a little bit, people were getting all over his case. Are you kidding me? The guy's using almost, more than 1/3 of his body, and sometimes when he does standing front dumbbell raises, he uses 100 pounds. But I'm sure if we showed a video of that, people would get, oh my God, he's moving. But what you have to understand is it's the end contraction that matters, okay? So if you have to move a little bit to then hoist that dumbbell up to create that maximal contraction, that's what you do, okay? Same thing with curls. If you have to move a little bit to take the pressure off your lower back or to start the contraction process, that's what you do. But guys are so hypnotized by form. Okay? It's the perfect form that makes the muscle grow. No, it's not. It's intense muscular contractions. If it was perfect form, you could sit here with no weight and do this, and life would be great. I mean, when you think about it, it does make sense, but you just have to be open-minded about it. And I'll give you an example. When guys talk about doing dumbbell flies, lying dumbbell flies, you see them and they hold their arms too far out. They hold their arms too straight. Well, what happens is that creates almost like a mixed martial art arm bar. The weight you have at the end of your hand creates too much pressure on the shoulder. Okay, so you can't create a good contraction because you have a long lever with weight at the end of it. Okay, so what I like to tell guys is bring your arm in so your hand is almost directly above your elbow. And you do a fly that way. Okay, and guys are going to go, oh no, hey, that looks like a press, Steve. Yeah, it does. Yeah, they're very close. Okay, but this is just slightly different than this. This creates a little more stretch than a bench press. So however you define a fly is irrelevant. The most important thing is that you do an exercise or a movement that's going to give you maximal contraction of your chest and shoulders. So by moving your hand in, okay, you're able to handle so much more weight because you have much better leverage over the weight. The weight doesn't have leverage over you. I hope you can understand that. So again, simple concepts, but people are just so hypnotized by what's occurring in magazines and on websites that they don't believe it. They've got to be able to think for themselves. So when you think about lifting weights, think about creating a maximal contraction. And if you have to do something a little different than the published absolute perfect form, you do that. Because not everybody's the same. I mean, I got a buddy who's 290 pounds. He's doing flies with 60s. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Flies with 60s? Oh, yeah, but I'm getting a great stretch out here, Steve. Uh-huh. Really? The stretch is not the contraction. Okay, because this is just way too hard, and this is too much shoulder. I said, dude, we used to do those with 100. I still do them with 100-pound dumbbells. So step up to the plate. Act like one of the big boys. Okay, and if somebody wants to bitch and complain about that's the wrong form, you tell them, hey, you sit down and you try this. And you know what? A lot of guys can lift 10, 15, 20, 30 pounds more doing things a different way. But for some reason, they just don't get it. Now some guys are like, oh man, you mean I can do my flies like this, or I can move a little bit when I do curls? wow, this is great. I'm curling the 80-pound dumbbells, whereas before when I was statue still, I'd be doing the 50s. Same thing with flies. Same thing with a variety of other exercises that require a little bit of movement or a different placement of your feet or your hands. So again, if you open up your mind and you say, wow, what I'm really interested in is lifting a big weight. Now, we don't want to throw it around. We don't want to flop over like a dead fish. I get it. You get it. Okay? But the whole idea is to create some additional momentum so we can then complete 90% of the movement with muscular contraction. And then at the end of that movement, we've created an intense muscular contraction because we are handling heavier weight. That is the most important thing. So if you're doing an exercise like pull downs and you got to sort of snap it or move a little bit before you snap it in, hey, that's okay. If you're doing it with 300 pounds, you're creating a 300-pound contraction. Same thing with dumbbell laterals, standing barbell curls. If you have to move a little bit to initiate that rep so you can then complete 90% of the rep through muscular contractions, you're doing well. So just think about that. Do what you got to do to make those movements easier so you can handle more weight. Very, very important. I'm Steve Turano. Train smart, train hard.